My cousin took the money I had saved for my son's surgery. "He'll be fine. Kids heal fast," she said with a smile, then booked a trip to Paris. I was left in shock, but a week later she came to me, full of regret. The air was thick with the scent of antiseptic as I stood in the hospital corridor, my heart pounding in my chest like a drum. My name is Jake, and at 34, life had thrown me into a whirlwind of challenges, but none as daunting as this. Emily, my wife, was by my side, her eyes red from crying, her hand squeezing mine for comfort. Our son, Tommy, lay in the room behind us, his small body fighting against a rare heart condition. The doctors had been clear, surgery was our only hope, and it came with a price tag that felt like a ransom for our son's life. For months, I've been pushing myself to the brink. Overtime at the factory, extra shifts, selling off pieces of our life, piece by piece. Each sacrifice felt like a step closer to saving Tommy, but also a step further from the life we once knew. Our family, or what I thought was our family, was supposed to be our support system. Emily's cousin Lisa had always been the wild card. Known for her impulsive decisions, her life seemed like a series of chaotic events, each more unpredictable than the last. We always tried to be there for her, offering a shoulder, a place to crash, or a loan when times were tough. But just when we thought we had scraped together enough for Tommy's surgery, something unthinkable happened. Lisa, in her usual whirlwind of chaos, had made a decision that would not only test our trust, but would shake the very foundation of our family. Her next move was something none of us could have anticipated, something that would leave us questioning everything we thought. We knew about loyalty and love. The day started like any other. Emily was at work and I was home with Tommy, who was playing with his toy cars on the living room floor. The phone rang and it was Lisa. She sounded unusually cheerful, which immediately set off alarm bells in my head. She asked if she could come over, saying she had something important to discuss. When she arrived, she was all smiles, her eyes sparkling with excitement. She sat down, and with a casual flick of her hair, she said, "Jake, I've got some news. I've decided to take a trip to Paris. I've always wanted to go, and now's the time." I was taken aback, not just by her sudden announcement, but by the timing. Here we were, grappling with the weight of Tommy's condition, every penny counted, and Lisa was talking about a vacation. I tried to keep my voice steady. "Lisa, that's great. But with everything going on with Tommy, isn't this a bit unexpected?" She leaned forward, her enthusiasm undimmed. I know, but hear me out. I've been thinking, and I believe this trip could be beneficial for all of us. I've got a plan, Jake." My mind raced, trying to connect the dots. What could she possibly mean by beneficial? Was she planning to help us in some way, or was this just another one of her whims? Lisa continued, "I've been saving up and I thought, why not make it a family trip? A chance for us to get away, to breathe, to maybe find some inspiration or even a solution." I felt a mix of confusion and a glimmer of hope. I couldn't believe my ears. The money, our hope, our son's future was being taken away for a vacation. I tried to argue, to reason with her, but she was already out the door, leaving behind a cloud of her perfume and a sinking feeling in my stomach. The days that followed were a blur of desperation. Tommy's condition was deteriorating, and without the surgery, his life was at risk. Emily was devastated, her spirit broken by the betrayal. I felt helpless, betrayed by my own blood. Every night I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, the weight of our situation pressing down on me like a physical force. I remember one evening, Emily and I sat in Tommy's room, watching him sleep. His small chest rose and fell with difficulty, each breath a reminder of our dire situation. Emily's voice was barely a whisper when she said, "Jake, what are we going to do? We can't let Lisa take that money. It's not just a trip for her. It's Tommy's life." I nodded, my throat tight with emotion. "I know, Em. I'll talk to her again. I'll make her see reason." But Lisa was unreachable, her phone going straight to voicemail, her social media silent. It was as if she had vanished into the very city she was so eager to visit. The week dragged on, each day heavier than the last. I called hospitals, pleaded with doctors, even looked into loans with interest rates that would have made a loan shark blush, but nothing was enough. Then one evening, as I sat at our kitchen table, surrounded by bills and medical reports, the doorbell rang. My heart skipped a beat, hoping against hope it might be Lisa, coming to her senses. But it wasn't Lisa. It was an old friend, Mike, someone I hadn't seen in years. He stood there, his face serious, holding an envelope. "Jake, I heard about Tommy. I'm so sorry, but I might have a way to help." I invited him in, my mind racing with possibilities. Mike explained, "I've been working on a project, a tech startup. One evening, as the sun was setting, casting long shadows through our small living room, there was a knock at the door. It was Lisa, but she looked different. Her usual vibrant energy was replaced by a somber, almost haunted expression. She stood there, her eyes red from crying, her voice barely a whisper as she said, 'Jake, I've made a terrible mistake.' She stepped inside, her presence filling the room with a heavy air of regret. I could see the toll Paris had taken on her. Her clothes were crumpled, her hair lacked its usual luster. She sat down, her hands nervously wringing together, and began to speak. 'I thought Paris would be an escape, a chance to breathe, but it was nothing like I imagined. It was lonely, Jake. So lonely. And every moment, I felt the weight of what I had done to you, to Emily, to Tommy.' Her voice broke, tears streaming down her face. 'I spent the money, thinking it would bring me joy, but all it did was amplify the guilt. I couldn't enjoy any of it knowing what I had taken from you.' I sat there, my heart a mix of anger and sorrow. Here was Lisa, the cousin we had always supported, now broken by her own actions. 'What did you do, Lisa?' I asked, my voice steady but cold. I tried to find a way to make things right. I met someone there, someone who promised he could help. He said he had connections, could get us the money back, but..." She paused, her eyes darting away, unable to meet mine. "It didn't work out. He took advantage of my desperation. I've come back with nothing but a plan to fix what I've broken." Her plan was to work, to sell everything she owned, to do whatever it took to repay us. She spoke of contacting old friends, begging for loans, even considering selling her body, though she didn't say it outright. The implication was clear in her eyes. I felt a surge of conflicting emotions. Here was Lisa offering to degrade herself, to make amends, yet the damage was done. Tommy's condition was worsening. Lisa had brought back with her a small fortune in jewelry she had bought in Paris, intending to sell it to fund Tommy's surgery. She handed over the items, her hands trembling. "I know this doesn't make up for what I did, but it's all I have," she said, her voice a mix of hope and despair. We rushed to the hospital, the jewelry in hand, hoping it would be enough. The doctors assessed the situation, and after some tense moments, they confirmed that the funds were sufficient. Tommy was prepped for surgery immediately. As I sat in the waiting room, my emotions were a whirlwind of relief, anger, and a strange sense of forgiveness. Lisa sat beside me, silent, her presence a reminder of the fragility of trust and family. I watched her, her eyes fixed on the floor, her fingers nervously picking at the fabric of her skirt. The surgery was underway, and the clock seemed to tick louder with each passing second. My mind wandered to the past weeks, the desperation, the betrayal, and now this unexpected turn of events. Lisa's attempt to right her wrongs, though late, was genuine. I remembered the nights when Emily and I had cried together, feeling the weight of our son's life in our hands, and now here we were, with a chance, a real chance, thanks to Lisa. But would it be enough? Would Tommy pull through? The waiting room was a sea of emotions, with other families sharing in our anxious vigil. I glanced at Lisa, her face pale, her eyes swollen from tears. "Lisa," I started, my voice low. I want to thank you for trying to fix this." She looked up, her eyes meeting mine, filled with a mixture of guilt and hope. "Jake, I know I've hurt you all. I've been selfish, and I'm so sorry. I just hope this can help Tommy, even if it's just a little." The door to the operating room swung open, and a nurse stepped out, Her face was unreadable, a professional mask, but her eyes held a flicker of something. My heart stopped. Mr. and Mrs. Thompson. The surgery was a success. Tommy was in recovery, his little body fighting back with the resilience only children possess. Lisa stayed by our side, helping in any way she could, her remorse palpable. Over time, our relationship with her began to heal, not because we forgot what she did, but because we chose to move forward together. I learned a hard lesson about trust and the importance of standing up for what's right, even against family. Emily and I decided to start anew, focusing on Tommy's recovery and our future. Lisa, now more grounded, became a part of our daily lives, not as the carefree cousin, but as someone who had learned the hard way about responsibility and the value of family. As Tommy grew stronger, so did our bonds. Lisa was there, every step of the way, from the first time Tommy managed a weak smile post-surgery to the day he took his first steps again. She was there when we celebrated his small victories, like when he could finally eat solid food without difficulty, or when he laughed, his laughter echoing through the hospital room, a sound so pure it could heal any wound. Lisa's transformation was evident. She took a job at a local cafe, working long hours, saving every penny she could. She even started attending night classes, aiming to better herself, to prove she was more than her past mistakes. Her efforts weren't just about repaying us, they were about proving to herself that she could be someone we could rely on. One evening, as we sat around Tommy's bed, Lisa looked at us, her eyes earnest. "I know I can't undo what I did, but I want you to know, I'm here. For Tommy. For you both. I want to make amends, not just with money, but with my time, my effort." Emily squeezed her hand, a silent acknowledgement of the journey we were all on together. "We see it, Lisa. We see you trying, and that means more than you might think." Thud. Days turned into weeks, and Tommy's progress was a beacon of hope. His laughter became more frequent, his energy more vibrant. He was back to playing with his toy cars, this time with Lisa. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.